Moving on to the Democrats and an embarrassing open mic night for two of them. First, in the race for 2008, a couple of campaigners in Keene, New Hampshire, who may look familiar. Former President Clinton introducing candidate Clinton after a 2-hour delay so the senator could cast a vote to double the bounty on the head of Osama bin Laden. Bill Clinton telling the crowd that electing her will restore America's standing in the world virtually overnight. In a stark departure from the Republicans, Senators Clinton, Edwards, and Obama agreeing to debate gay issues next month. Among those planning to ask the candidates about their stands on gay marriage and don't ask, don't tell, singer and gay activist Melissa Etheridge. As to the open mic incident, that happened at the end of yesterday's NAACP event. Curiously, Fox Noise somehow leaving Edwards and Clinton's microphones open after the event was over. Senator Edwards and Senator Clinton only barely audible, but according to the Associated Press, they were complaining about the race being trivialized because of too many Democratic candidates. Edwards quoted as saying, "We should try to have a more serious and smaller group." Clinton in response, "We've got to cut the number. They are not serious." In New Hampshire, Senator Clinton said Edwards just wanted to talk about some ideas. The Edwards campaign saying he does not want to exclude anyone, but wants smaller groups chosen at random for the debates. An angry Dennis Kucinich campaign calling Edwards and Clinton imperial candidates who want to dictate who voters hear. Now, you're just assuming they're trying to throw you out. They might mean Senator Obama. For analysis, let's turn to Congressional Quarterly columnist Craig Crawford, whose latest book is The Politics of Life, 25 Rules for Survival in a Brutal and Manipulative World by Craig Crawford. Welcome, Craig, and please remember your microphone is now open.
Yeah, always, 24/7, ever since the Patriot Act. I assume we're on tape. Yeah.
Well played. How damaging, presuming it is damaging, how damaging is this for either Edwards or Clinton?
Oh, I don't think it's that damaging at all, Keith. I think they have every right to talk about this. There is a problem with these debates not focusing enough on fewer candidates. I like the random idea of smaller groups, but it did look like they were playing the elitist. What I took from it was they look like a pretty interesting team to me. I could see a Clinton-Edwards ticket after watching that on YouTube.
Do you think that the Edwards point that there were so many candidates in the debates thus far that nobody really gets enough time to cover enough issues, is that a valid point, do you think, in terms of the entire process, not just as it pertains to those two candidates?
Well, the last couple of debates, Keith, I went back and fast-forwarded and just listened to the top three candidates one by one and then counted, and I think they each spoke about 4 or 5 times in a 90-minute debate. That is getting a little ridiculous. And actually, I have to wonder if Senator Clinton might not like the way it is and might not actually have been that genuine in what she was saying with Senator Edwards, because if you're the front runner, you're better off, really, if you only have to talk 4 or 5 times, less opportunity to get yourself in trouble.
The Clintons campaigning with each other in New Hampshire today, he's obviously still this huge draw, this rock star with Democratic voters. How is that a balancing of the value of that to her campaign and the distraction to her campaign? How is that going?
I don't see a lot of downsides so far. I mean, after all, they're campaigning here among Democratic grassroots activists, party loyalists, the crowd that is the most adoring of Bill Clinton. We might see less of this in a general election if she were the nominee, to avoid some of that fallout with those who hate the Clintons so much. But I think as a primary campaign strategy for Democratic votes, Bill Clinton is hard to beat.
I have to ask you, and there's lots to talk about still with the campaign, but we're going to go into this in full detail on Monday, I think. But I've got to ask you while you're here about this Pat Tillman executive privilege story. From a process angle here, if you're Senator Waxman or Congressman Waxman and you're going to let this news out that the White House has actually invoked executive privilege about documents relating to the death of Pat Tillman, this archetypical hero of the action in Afghanistan, why, if you're Congressman Waxman, would you do this on a Friday afternoon when almost nobody is paying attention? Why don't you hold it till Monday?
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes they're not all that savvy about the playing the media game. But this executive privilege stuff, when you get to the signing statements and everything else that's happened, Keith. I mean, Congress has got to take the long view about the relative powers of the two branches of government and begin to deal with and push back this administration and the imperial attitude they have about presidential power. And the more this stuff goes unanswered, the more it becomes a matter of precedence for history for administrations long to come, Democrat or Republican. Whenever these folks get in the White House, they suddenly become very protective of presidential power, whatever party they're in, and those who set precedent like this president has create a real danger for Congress down the road, which we're seeing now in Congress trying to get its handle on the war.
Indeed. Craig Crawford of MSNBC and, of course, Congressional Quarterly. Craig, many thanks. Have a great weekend.
You too.